Get rid of some theory. Hi, Sylvie. Hi, Sam. I've been perceived. Everything seems to be working good. Keyword is seems. Got a ghosty behind me. Hopefully he will not cause any mischief. We should be in the clear. Alright. Welcome everyone to, well, the sub-goal stream that I promised y'all. This is your first time here on the channel. My name is Hats. I'm a Dragon Girl VTuber with a bit of a foul mouth. And whip. Look, I didn't mean to time this story for Pride Month. It's just how life rolled. But also happy Pride Month. And if you're wondering why the hell I'm not covered in rainbows or something like that, motherfuckers, the desk chair behind me, the ace desk chair, has been there the whole fucking time! Gotta see if there's one with the new flag on it. See how that works. See if maybe my green screen program doesn't decide it hates it. But anyways, I had the sub goal for me reading these stories, so I'm gonna read them out. Low energy stream. Shouldn't take too much out of me. And we also get a glimpse into the absolute batshit insanity I tend to see on a regular basis online. So further ado, we start off with the gaycation. Again, I did not mean to time this one with Pride Month. Good fucking gods. My 42 female husband, 42M, male, has informed me he intends to go on a gaycation with his brother-in-law, 35 male, in Ibiza. How do I handle this? Yeah! I mainly am on gaming forums, but also every now and then I poke my head into best of render updates and places like that, just because every now and then I'm just curious about some of the wild stories people have got. Of course, we got trigger warnings for this story. Got infidelity, internalized homophobia, and accusations of homophobia. There is, however, no actual homophobia. We gotta learn about the gaycation today. I didn't realize these existed. You know, you would think as a member of the LGBTQA community, I would be informed of these things, but no, I wasn't. Right. Originally posted on November 27th, 2024, so like, good gods. About 2 years ago. Hi there, I really wish I didn't have to make this post, but here goes! Gaycation is the gaycation if you're gay. Exactly. So, me and my husband have been happily married for about 16 years, give or take. We both have stable careers, good family life, and are fairly fortunate despite the cost of living racking the UK right now. We have 2 boys, 15 and 10, and up until this Sunday, thought we had it pretty good. We argue sometimes, of course, but never gotten too bad, and we have a pretty decent sex life with some exploration, but I won't get into that. Long and short is, on Sunday, just after I dropped our boys off at their friends, my husband asked me if we had the house alone, and more importantly, do I have a minute? I said yes, and he sat me down and got out this printed poster for some sort of orgy, and started explaining to me the concept of a gaycation. How it's where straight men go to somewhere with sun, sand, and booze and become gay for the duration of the trip. I know- Ghost! We haven't even gotten to the worst of it! He's yelling behind me, we haven't even gotten to the worst of it. For the duration of the trip. But that's fine, because it doesn't really count, because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. I was just completely silent and mortified, even more so when he said he was looking into booking a trip to Ibiza next year with his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, to experience it for himself. When he finally let me speak, I said I need him to be clear with me. Is he gay? Because if yes, that's okay, but we need to figure out what happens going forward. I didn't let myself get angry or upset, I was just stunned. He swore up and down how he's not gay and he's 100% attracted to women, and of course he still loves me and our boys. So I said, well, do you think you're bi, maybe? And he got very... Do not touch that door! I am comfortable here with my heating pad, do not touch that door! So I said, well, do you think you're bi, maybe? And he got very defensive, saying how I need to drop the accusations that this is the beauty of the gaycation, allow straight men to experience gayness, let it actually be gay, and how it's like going to an aquarium. Oh, Ruby! Good gods, Ruby! You chose a hell of a time to hop in! Hi! Ruby! Ruby, you learned about the gaycation! I don't know why I didn't get the memo about these. Yes, the gaycation story. Now, what the fuck does this man be by, like, it's like going to an aquarium? That's what I want to know. Where did an aquarium come into this? How? Why? The fuck? Going with lamb music ain't helping this. Again, my guy, it would just be easier to admit to your wife that you're not straight than this. It would be so much easier.
Hydrate, you bastard! Hydrate!
Sam, the B-52 bomber's not gonna... Oh, we're just button pressing.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Okay, we're just... I'm taking a sip! We're just button pressing right now, okay. Yeah, I refreshed the sound alerts. Also got Ghost yelling over here. I think he too was stunned by this gaycation stuff. Alright, now that we've let that sit and settle for a bit. Very glad to hear it, Sam. Okay, but... Yes, Ghost. Meow, I hear you. Meow, I hear you too. Yes. Alright, now that we've let that sit and settle, next part. I ignored him for the rest of the day, but we spoke at tea when I asked asked him, why does he want to do this so bad if he's not gay? He said how he's interested in how gay men's lives differ to straight men's, and that, unfortunately, once the gaycation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist, and he must surrender himself mind, body, and soul to the gaycation or be destroyed. I really can't put into words how surreal it was, because he was speaking so matter-of-factly, and he again insists this is a thing that straight men do all the time, and how he's actually doing it a bit late. I just said to him that he has any love for me, then he can't go ahead with this, and if he does, the marriage will be dead. He didn't speak anymore after that. Man, and that would have been the moment I called the fucking lawyer! The marriage is already dead! Cause what the fuck? The man is actively planning on cheating on you in front of you! The lawyer should have been called now! Simpson, he's mentioned no more of it, but somehow, and this is what scares me a lot too, that decision genuinely seems to be tearing him up. He didn't go into work on Monday and only went half a day yesterday. Because he told them he just felt too ill and he just looks distraught every time I see him. I really don't think he's wholly gay, though I can absolutely believe he's bi, but I'd rather we talked about that in a healthy way, rather than this incredibly weird denialism going on a sex holiday to Ibiza. Also, forgive me if I am butchering that pronunciation. I am only reading that. I have never heard it spoken out loud, so I'm going off of my best guess. Has anyone known straight guys to do this and come back and just go back to being straight? Like, surely that can't be a thing that happens. I'm so out of my depth here, and I just don't know how to even initiate the conversation. For the record, I also haven't mentioned it to his sister yet. I don't know how I'd even break it to her. Thanks for any help, I just don't even want to think so. I don't even want to think so being able to get this out there has helped even just a little bit. Oh, this blew up. This has been incredibly sobering, and I think I've now confirmed what I already knew to be the case. Marriage is dead, one way or another. It was dead a couple days ago. It was dead the moment he started planning a sex holiday right in front of you. In a way, I was in denial myself about that. I have contacted my sister-in-law, and she initially screamed at me, calling me a liar, and even insinuated I was trying to steal her husband. She rang me back shortly after, apologized, and admitted she was in deep shock. I have asked my parents to look after the boys, and we're going to meet tomorrow to discuss this deeper. I also have texted my husband and told him that he'll need to make alternative accommodation arrangements, but he will not be sleeping here tonight, and a bag will be waiting for him. Good. Not sure if the mods want to lock the post or not, but I think I've got my answers. Thank you for all the kind words, especially Champion Flight, who really gave me the good dose of reality I needed. So, again, what the fuck is wrong with this man? Again, aside the possibility of this man's sexuality, all of that aside, the man is quite literally planning a sex holiday right in front of his wife. That's what gets me. He is planning a sex holiday in front of his wife and is being fucking weird about it. Now, I never heard of anyone, straight whatever have you, doing stuff like this before until this story came to my attention. Now if Spy somehow, some, like, weird-ass fluke, this is an actual thing, what the fuck? And why was I not given the memo? Do aces not get the memo? Do the asexual, pan-romantic people not get the memo? No, but you don't understand, Has. The gay case is too powerful to be stopped. But why, though? Why? Am I too ace to understand this? I don't get it, and I am distressed. Please send help. Ghost is upset. Ghost doesn't get it. He's looking at me with the biggest eyes possible. He's scared. Alright, so, how did Reddit react to this? Oh, wait, we have more. I forgot I had more. There was a PS. P.S. I see a lot of people asking about the aquarium, and at risk of doxing myself, there is a pretty famous aquarium in the UK called The Deep. At the very end, you walk through a tunnel that goes underneath the main fish tank, so it's quite immersive, I suppose. My husband explained the aquarium thing, and that it's a bit like that. You go there and you observe the fishes, you get a bit up close, but you never actually enter the water, get emotionally invested, or become a fish. Okay? So it doesn't really count. It was a very bizarre analogy, and I pointed out that it still makes no sense, and he just got more in a huff, and how I just don't get it. And frankly, I still don't. None of us get it! I don't get it! Neither one of us gets it! Sir, there's a difference between getting an idea of what it's like to live underwater and going out and fucking other people. There is a stark difference. But yeah, I don't know, this is some weird shit that straight people kind of do to hide their true sexuality, that stuff. Again, it would just be easier to come out of the closet at this point than be this! What is this about? I just tuned in. Hi, I'm reading. Hey, I decided to start off the Reddit reading sub goal reward with the gaycation story. Because at this point, we all need to collectively go, what the actual fuck, about something other than the world news every now and then. Yeah, it would just be easier to come out of the closet, my guy, than this. Than whatever this shit is. I don't get it. But they came out of the closet, they have to admit they're gay, and they can't possibly be gay. I don't know. I think planning a sex holiday with exclusively men when you happen to also identify as a man sounds pretty fucking gay. Quite literally. Anyways, it's the relevant comments here. Your husband isn't proposing a gaycation, he's proposing cheating on you with men while using magical thinking to pretend it doesn't count. The fact that he's planning this with his sister's husband makes it even more— oh, I forgot about the sister's husband! Oh god, he roped his brother— I forgot he roped his brother-in-law into this. He roped his brother-in-law into this. Oh, fuck, that makes it even worse. Makes it even more disturbing. His bizarre explanation about surrendering mind, body, and soul isn't straight man curiosity, it's someone desperately trying to justify exploring his sexuality while keeping his heterosexual marriage. His depression about not being able to go was about missing a vacation. It's about being forced to confront his sexuality without his convenient "what happens in Ibiza stays in Ibiza" excuse. His meltdown over not going shows how desperately he wants to avoid facing this reality. Of course, OP responds, I read over this multiple times, and I guess the worst part is, I know you're completely right. OP should consider a divorce! Yes! Please! I wanted to avoid the divorce option, but I guess it's the only option, isn't it? Yes! Please! The lawyer should have been called immediately after the conversation ended. So this is just a thought, but I'm wondering if he was really planning on doing the gaycation, or if that was just a cover to try to get you to agree to it. What if your plan was to get with women while he's down there? And OP's response, I hadn't really thought of that, to be honest. And now the thought terrifies me. The way he was talking about men, the fact they had a poster for a gay orgy. I mean, it's one hell of a bluff, surely. There are easier bluffs! There would have to be easier bluffs. And even then, no matter what, your bluff still involves you cheating on your wife. What the fuck? Commenter 3. Tell him you were going to have a straightcation while he's gone, and you were going to surrender mind, body, and soul to other men. Honest to God, if my husband proposed this to me, I'd use this time away to pack up, move out, and have divorce papers waiting for him. So Reddit collectively went, what the fuck, no, that's not a thing, and also that's still cheating, no matter what. But you know, for once, which is a rarity from Reddit, was the reasonable response. You have no idea how rare it is to get a reasonable response out of Reddit. Yes, Ghosty. Nope, you're spending time with mommy. Yeah. Fucking hell. Ghost, we're not done yet. It's not over, baby. The horrors ain't over. There's more. There's an update. November 28th, 2024. And it had to be retrieved via Undid It. Which means this shit got deleted at some point. So when I last posted, I contacted my husband to tell him he wouldn't be staying at home tonight and a bag would be waiting for him. As you can imagine, we argued. Quite badly. I won't go into the specific details, but no, I'm 100% on board with the fact, a minimum, he's bi, might even be gay altogether. We've had arguments in the past, but I've genuinely never seen him have such a childish tantrum before. Screaming about how I just don't understand the gaycation. Absolutely despise that phrase now, yet madam, I would too. And insinuating I'm actually homophobic because I refuse to allow him to participate in this cultural exchange with the gay community. Sir, this is not a cultural exchange with the gay community. A lot of you said to ask if it would be acceptable if the rules were in reverse, and I did say, would it be acceptable if I went and slept with other guys during that week? Like fucking clockwork! He was very angry and offended, saying it's completely different because a gaycation means nothing, and what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, etc., so it doesn't actually count. Whereas I'd just be straight up cheating. Well, I turned it around on him. No, but you see, what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. It doesn't mean anything, it doesn't count, it's like bird watching. And I think it got through to him? He went all quiet, then started crying, admitting the thought of me sleeping with another man is destroying his heart, but relationships need sacrifices, so agreed, while in tears, that when he goes on the gaycation, I'll get 1 week in Manchester, do whatever I want. He doesn't want me to, but that's fair in a twisted way, he supposed. I told him to get out of my house. Thankfully, he left without a fight. Good! Good! You made it click in his hand. You made it click in his head, but he still decided to be an ass. Good! Out he went! Good! Throw out the man! The whole ass man disposal service! Yes, the entire man! I know it's incredibly petty, but I also drained the joint bank account, legal in the UK, so he couldn't try to use it against me. About an hour later, I got rang up by his mum, my mother-in-law, who just screamed and screamed at me about being a cheating whore, how it was horrible, what about the kids, etc. So motherfucker couldn't even be went to his parents, and couldn't even be honest about what actually happened. Because he knows he's being a piece of shit about this. That, or his parents are actually incredibly homophobic. But considering I've read this before, I doubt it. When I finally got my composure back, I just said, ask your son about the gaycation. Yes, Ghost.
No.
Really? Obviously, at first she got angry, but I said, no, just ask him about the gaycation. He'll explain. But she called me a fucking joke and hung up. Later on, getting into the evening, got another phone call from her in the flood of tears. She was very apologetic, and I told her she doesn't need to be the one to apologize. She was so upset she put father-in-law on the phone, who, while he sounded calm, I could just sort of tell he was on the warpath. Again, very apologetic, and said he overheard that phrase, asked my husband, and husband initially said no, it's nothing, before explaining how it's a modern thing meant to, etc., and gave them the same spiel about what what happens on the gaycation, men cannot resist the gaycation, how a man must surrender to the gaycation, etc., and what the fuck, man. So, good news, parents, not homophobic. Better news! Even his parents are going, son, what the fuck? Father-in-law just said they told him to leave or they'd call the police. Don't care where he goes, but he wasn't staying there. So tried to call me while I was on the phone, but I just ignored it, and father-in-law said he was so sorry for me, and they have my corner in this, so that's one thing. Told them to be there for the daughter because it sounds like brother-in-law is involved. Husband didn't tell them that. And father-in-law just said he had to go because he was so angry. Got a text from my husband after the phone call, which was all weirdly rambly, saying about how I had abused the gaycation to destroy his marriage and destroy his life. Buddy, you did that to yourself. And again insinuated I and his parents were homophobic for doing such a thing. Buddy, the sexuality's not the problem here. Exactly, Ghost. That's not the problem here. Told him we'll talk when he grows up and blocks his number. I took a day off work myself to have the locks changed this morning, so that's 500 pounds gone, but whatever. At least I know he won't be coming back. I'm going to look into how to proceed with a divorce, and then we'll move from there. Oh, of course, there's also the brother-in-law. So I haven't yet met with sister-in-law. She was in such a state and has taken this far worse than I have for reasons that'll be clear soon. We're going to maybe try tomorrow, but we did talk over the phone and I eavesdropped on the conversation with her husband where she put her phone on speaker and I went on mute. Her husband got home earlier. She made him come home, told him there was an emergency, and just said to him, "Can you please explain what a gaycation is?" She told me afterwards she was praying he'd look confused or just be like, "What?" or anything like that. But instead he just sat her down and explained that a gaycation is a new thing where straight men go to gay hotspots to participate in gay sex acts. But it doesn't count because there's no investment. And because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. He said it's like writing down angry thoughts and putting them in a drawer. You never have to see them again. So we've gone from aquarium to journaling. At this point, it is easier to just come out the closet. It is easier to just come out the closet. Whole time, sister-in-law's in tears as he just calmly bats off the same points my husband did about how it doesn't count, and he even did the whole "it's impossible to resist, you must surrender or be destroyed" shit. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. Are there even male doms? Yes, there are. Because surely neither of them are that into this to actually make that up on their own. I really don't want to go into what was discussed for her sake, but it had become very apparent to me that brother-in-law is into sissy hypno porn, and at times conflated that with the concept of a gaycation. Now, I don't go into those spots. Is that what goes down in those spots? I don't know. But surely even those areas don't encourage you to actually blow your life up like this. There's this utterly surreal moment where sister-in-law's just trying to wrap her head around this while also in floods of tears, and he explains so genuinely, so matter-of-factly, that for most men, the gaycation is either a one-time or annual thing, but some men go on the gaycation for years, and others simply never return, because they use hypnosis and mind control to be totally feminized to a state of permanent pseudo-gayness. What in... Sir, that's not how hypno-kink works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works! She said a disbelief, surely if you're taking up the arse willingly because you want to, that makes you gay. And he said no, because that's the beauty of the gaycation. You can do all this gay stuff, but don't interact with the wider gay life experience. She asked if the sissy stuff was what he wanted. He said, not on a long-term basis, and was adamant that this is something all straight men do. But she wouldn't get it because she's a woman. I double don't get it. I'm a woman. I'm ace. But I have a feeling even if I showed this to a man, he's gonna sit there and go, what the actual fuck? And is also not gonna get it. Because, you know, what the star-spangled fuck? Then there are more insinuations of homophobia. Well, that marriage is dead too, I suppose. The whole ordeal ended when she said to him that he has a choice to make, and he said no, he doesn't need to make this choice because the beauty of the gaycation is that it allows him to keep his marriage because it doesn't count. It counts! It very much counts! She said that's not the choice. The choice is whether he's leaving the house that night, or she is. Only good thing he did was leave. Me and sister-in-law spoke about it after that, and I'm just still utterly stunned. I understand she's gone to her parents for the support. What exactly did we do to have our lives destroyed in such an abrupt, bizarre, embarrassing way? For some advice, I'm going to look at devices and bank statements, see if I can find any definitive proof of cheating. After that, I suppose I figure out how I tell the boys why their father won't be coming home. It's simple. I want an actual vacation. Not a gaycation. I want a vacation up in the mountains where I just get left in a cabin and have some quiet for a week. Just have a week where I don't gotta worry about nothing. Well, sorry, every gaycation is a gaycation when you're part of the LGBTQI+. Victory for the aces, I suppose! Every vacation I go on is technically a gaycation, for the sole fact that I am asexual pan-romantic. I guess this is a victory, I suppose. And it spoke to other sister-in-law, my husband's family as older sister, him, younger sister / original sister-in-law, and gave her a skimmed-down version of it. She asked her husband, and thankfully he was deeply confused. I mentioned about 2 years ago at a birthday party, he was approached by my husband brother-in-law about signing up to some online boot camp around BDSM cross-dressing. He assumed they were taking the piss out of him, so told them to fuck off and never really thought of it again. The fact that this has been going on for that long is making me want to throw up. Good fucking gods. P.S. For the poster who said about divorce options, I'm actually going to look at adultery because plain and simple, that's what this is. Yes, that is what this is. Just holy shit. And of course, the top comments from that update. Well, the top comment from that update. Your husband and brother-in-law are deep in a shared delusion that's destroyed 2 families. Their identical talking points about surrender and destruction prove this was coordinated. They're not just planning to cheat, they're already involved in some online community that's warped their thinking. The fact that they both instantly launched the same script about gaycation showed this isn't spontaneous. You made the right call, draining the account and changing the locks. Their attempts to flip this into accusations of homophobia show how desperately they're trying to avoid responsibility. The identical language, the bizarre aquarium bird-watching analogies, the talk of surrender or be destroyed, they're in some online echo chamber that's completely divorced from reality. When your husband agreed to let you have a Manchester week while crying, he revealed the whole lie. He knows exactly what this is. Cheating. He just wants permission to do it while denying you the same. Talk about hypnosis and permanent feminization reveals just how far it goes. Get a lawyer, protect your assets, and document everything. This will get worse before it gets better. Focus on protecting yourself and your children. Because they're too far gone in their shared fantasy to see the destruction they're causing. What a pathetic hill for two men to die on. They destroyed their marriages, traumatized their families, and alienated their parents, all while insisting none of it counts because they made up special rules about it. They want to achieve without consequences, and they found an online community that validates that fantasy. Exactly. That is exactly what is happening here. Because that is the problem that everyone has had with these two men. That everyone in their lives has had. Not them wanting to be with other men, but the fact that they are wanting to go and cheat on their partners. There's been no signs of any actual homophobia from anyone in their families. And UK tends to not be, well, they tend to not be the greatest. They aren't the absolute worst when it comes to, people, hating on anyone who's not straight. Again, it would have been simpler to just come out the fucking closet. Yes, it still probably would have ended in divorce. Most likely, it could have. If they, if they went, okay, yes, I am entirely gay, I am not into women. It would have ended in that way in an amicable divorce. Instead, what these two men have done is completely blow up their lives. Because somehow, in their minds, this would be easier than just coming out the fucking closet. And I don't get it. Am I too ace for this shit? I don't know. Surely the need to get your rocks off is not that bad. Let's see here. How long am I going on here for? Yeah, should be able to squeeze in like maybe one, maybe two. Maybe both of the extra stories. Where? There it is. Switch to the other one. Oh, it's not gonna let me. Come on. Really? Trying to force Streamlabs to show it. Does that work? Come on, I have two other stories here, come on. Hold on, technical difficulties, but it's not a technical difficulty I can just run over to another thing for. There it is. Now, I've titled this one The Second Breakfast Hot Dog. But how are we feeling after that gaycation story? Are we going what the fuck enough yet? Happy Pride, everybody! So remember, it's easier to come out the fucking closet than come up with some convoluted way as to why you're allowed to cheat on your partner. Got even ghosts going what the fuck in it. Take a sip of my drink. Give a kitty a scritchy. Send off a message real quick. Alright, no commentary for the peanut gallery? Alright, second breakfast hot dog time. Y'all will understand why I call this that. And I couldn't put the mood spoilers in here because that would just reveal what the twist is for this. Me, 35 female with my boyfriend, 41 male of 3 years, just found out he has been secretly eating hot dogs because I unknowingly starve him. Originally posted July 7th, 2016, so this one's an oldie, but a goodie. I recognize it sounds insane from the post title. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 3 years. We have what I would describe as a pretty solid relationship. We have enough similar interests to enjoy activities together, but enough divergent ones that we also have full, complete lives outside of the relationship. We already spend almost every night together and plan to move in together when his lease is up in the fall. We work about 3 miles from each other and on some days carpool depending on schedules. Typically during the work week, I get up and make breakfast and pack our lunches. This has been ongoing since probably 6 months in. Usually for breakfast, I don't do anything great. Really? Come here. Oatmeal, cereal, scrambled eggs, and toast. Normal breakfast stuff. For lunch, I pack sandwiches, chips or pretzels, some sort of fruit, and a couple of days a week, a sweet treat. Always make his portions larger than mine, and he's never complained before about any of it. Today we went to lunch and stopped at a nearby park. Why did I call it a punk? I'm trying to words right, but I have a cat who wants my attention right now. I was sitting across the picnic table from him when I noticed some yellow on his shirt and made a comment. "You have yellow on you," joke. He looked over and scratched away. There was a lot of it, and I mindlessly said, "Did you take a mustard bath before lunch?" And he just turned bright red. After questions as to why he was embarrassed, the truth came out. I don't make him large enough meals, and almost every day for the past 2 or so years, he takes his 15-minute morning break and walks to a nearby convenience store where he purchased what can only be described as a second breakfast hot dog. I recognize this sounds ridiculous, but I'm so hurt and upset that he has been starving all this time and never wanted to say anything. Of course, now I am embarrassed because he thinks it is all the funniest thing to ever happen, but I really am really bothered that instead of sharing his discomfort with me like a normal person, he just had a mid-morning hot dog for months on end. The conversation eventually ended up with us both mad, me for what I feel is deception, him for what he feels is me blowing this all out of proportion. Do I just ignore, or is this indicative of bigger problems? Too long to read, I unknowingly started my boyfriend for years, and instead of talking to me about it, he has developed a second breakfast of almost daily hot dogs. Am I crazy to be upset? And he is the one who said he was starving, not me. There's a whole lot of focus on that word choice, so wanted to clarify. Appreciate everyone's thoughts. Seems pretty tame story, right? Just going out, just guy, instead of telling his girlfriend, "Hey, can you maybe make me some extra food in the morning?" He just goes and gets another hot dog. Pretty tame by usual Reddit standards. The relevant comments. Why didn't the boyfriend say anything before? He usually avoids conflict until it's at his breaking point. I guess A, I don't want to push someone to a breaking point when I am completely unaware. Although I guess it's not that big of a deal to him, and B, holy shit, he needs to get his cholesterol checked. And of course, the top comment. You weren't starving him. He's a grown man who, by all means, could have said at one point, "Hey, can you pack me another sandwich?" He is a grown man who can also make his own lunches. You are taking responsibility for an issue that has nothing to do with you. The real issue is, why didn't he feel comfortable saying something about it to the point where he kept this a secret for so long? I agree, he probably should have said something before now, but you also sound like you are blowing this way out of proportion. He honestly probably enjoyed his mid-morning break and thought of it as a treat rather than you starving him. I'm sure he could have snuck food from home, gone to the grocery himself, or any number of options if he truly didn't want a hot dog. Now, you would think there would need to be an update here, but there is one. There is an update. The next day. Before I start reading, where do you think this went? Why did there need to be an update for this? What rabbit hole did OP accidentally go down? Because it's never good. It's never good if there's a next day update for something as simple as that. It's also never good if there's an update multiple years later for something as simple as that. Yes, Ghosh? Come here. You want mommy? Mommy getting you. Hey, hey, ow, ow, claws, claws! You have kniffies on your feet. They hurt. Alright. Oh, ad break coming up soon. Alright, hold on, let me just try to get more comfy in the chair. Ghost, you are on the back of mommy's chair. Be a nice boy. Wow. And now he's on the bed. Oh, come on. Really? You're not gonna let me go on ahead and play ahead of time when I got the alert? Really? Alright, I guess we're gonna take like a, quick little break while ads go on before I, get into this. Let me just, No reading ahead. There, ads be playing. I don't know, y'all go get a snack or something. I currently need to figure out what the hell I'm gonna be doing for my dinner. Also, get back the points. Did tits stop working? Hold on. Checking something. No, Twitch connection's still going on. Don't know what the hell happening then. Hmm. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, me just sitting here. You getting your water, baby? Really? Really? Still waiting. Oh, ad break done. Am I free? Did I get one singular penny? I think I got one singular... Did I maybe get one singular penny? I don't fucking know. Anyways. So, I read everyone's comments and found most people thought I was overreacting, a handful thought I was a psycho bitch. At the end of the day, I was feeling pretty bad. Some points of clarification, it was not the consumption of hot dogs that bothered me. It just seemed really weird to me that this was a 2-year habit he had never mentioned to me before. It's like 500 times this has happened and it never came up. He knows that I have a chai latte obsession. I don't tell him every time I go get one, but he's aware that if I hit up the coffee shop, and sometimes he stops by for me, I would have reciprocated is all. We're both detail-oriented people, so oftentimes we discuss the minutiae of our days. I don't care what he eats. I'm not trying to portion control anything or be his sole source of food. Most people seem to think I am a control freak. I'm not. He was initially defensive about the secret hot dog parties and told me I was starving him. I got upset because I just wish I had known. I'm not a crazy person who would have been mad. I would have just asked if he wanted more food or if he was fine with a mid-afternoon snack. I did not really ban hot dogs in my home due to a tragic Dachshund accident. Or Dotson. Is it Dotson or Dachshund? I don't fucking know. Come on now. Because I've heard both. I've heard both. Anyway, I don't guess much of that matters now because things have taken a turn for what I perceive to be the worse. Like I said, I was feeling like a shitheel by the end of the day, so I stopped by the grocery store on my way home and bought him 3 cans of Vienna sausages, which I presented with a verbal apology to him for dinner. Before I get more mean messages about meat choices, I know Vienna sausages are not hot dogs, I just thought they were funnier. He laughed and we moved on. During dinner, which was not Vienna sausages, in case you wondered, we were talking about everything and I mentioned the original post I had made and he asked to see it. So he read it while I was cleaning up my kitchen, and when I got done and went into the living room, he was sitting there with tears in his eyes. I asked him what was wrong, and he took a deep breath and told me that he felt so bad so many people had told me I was off the deep end. I was really confused by this point, so asked why he felt that way. Drum roll please, what's the twist? Turns out the reason I didn't know about his daily hot dog is because he's been meeting an ex there to take their morning break together. The girl is his college sweetheart who'd stayed in the city after school. They broke up years before we even met, so I only know of her abstractly. He has always spoken fondly of her, and according to him, they just grew apart. However, it seems that she has a job working nearby the convenience store and he frequents, and once they realized via Facebook I knew they were friends on there, it did not bother me. See, I am not controlling! They were working in close proximity. They decided to meet up at the store. So they go there 4 or 5 days a week, get their snacks, and chat. He says it's just been talking. She's got a boyfriend. He says they don't really talk about their actual lives, they just shoot the breeze. I asked him why he didn't tell me about this before now, and he said he didn't think it was a big deal, but that he also didn't want me to ask him about it or be suspicious. I don't know. I feel like having secret ex-girlfriend meetings that happen to include hot dogs is a lot different from having secret hot dogs. So I guess the update is that I'm still upset, although it feels like now things are maybe more justified. I tried to not overreact, told him that this was all pretty fucking weird that he has hung out with an ex, briefly as it may be, daily for nearly 2 years without mentioning it. Said he didn't have any intention of stopping his morning chats with the ex, so I need to learn to deal with it. I don't know. I honestly just feel really sad and gross right now. Also, he left the Vienna sausages at my place. Till I didn't read, hot dog parties were a front for visiting with his ex-girlfriend. I am depressed and currently have excess apology sausages in my home. Again, an entire situation that could have been resolved with the guy actually communicating ages ago and being honest. Like, hey, I've started hanging out with an ex again recently, you know, we're still on good terms, and realized that the store, and, you know, I've been meeting up to, hang out as friends or something like that. Could have been easy. But the fact that it has been secret for 2 years is what comes off as weird. Comes off as very fucking weird. And I sadly do not have the energy to get into the third story I have. But hey, went over an hour. At least recording-wise. That's good, at least. So for those who did tune in, I do hope you enjoyed. I should be back Saturday at the absolute latest. I got paid to start learning create in Minecraft. God's help me. You know, the usual socials, Linktree link should be down below, along with all relevant social media, as well as direct links to the Throne wishlist and the Ko-Fi and support me ways other than through Twitch. But as always, my name is Hats, and bye-bye.